Welcome back everybody to Maxs Garaj Mahal. Today we're going to be talking about steering tracking of the Hustler Raptor and Raptor SD, the big dog Alpha MP. And we want to ask you a few questions before we start, and that is, if your steering sticks are in park, are the sticks straight across from each other? Let me back out here and we'll sort of try to get the lawnmower in the picture here. And I'm going to sort of explain these things as we go. The reason why we want to ask these questions before we make any adjustments is that a lawnmower veers for various reasons. So some of the things we want to ask: are the tires adjusted straight or equal on either side? So are the fronts equal to each other? Are the rears equal to each other? If they aren't, this could cause, especially the rear tires, this could cause the mower to veer right or left. So you want to make sure that your air pressure adjustments are correct, and you want to make sure that they are adjusted for your comfort level, meaning that if you have too much air in the rear and front tires, it's going to ride really harshly. If it has too little air, then it's going to ride really softly. However, it can also allow, as you go over dips and such, especially on hillsides, it's going to allow the low side to dip even farther toward the ground, and it'll make your grass cut very unlevel. You won't like that. So again, some of the questions we want to ask: are the sticks in park straight across from each other? And the reason why we're going to ask that is this is where we're going to make some of our adjustments. Are the sticks then in neutral straight across from each other? And we will get some close-ups of these shortly. When they're far as they can go forward, are they level with each other? And if they are not, if one is leading the other, is it going faster on the side that's leading, slower on the other? Then if that's the case, then we want to adjust. Before we adjust anything else, we want to adjust the rod that's placing these levers in the misaligned area. So we want to know that. We want to know these areas here. And there are several other things we want to talk about, and we want to explain them as we go. Comfort level, we want to make sure you get. Also, when you go backwards, is it going backwards at a different rate one side or the other? Is one stick softer than the other? Okay, let's talk about that. Before we make a whole lot of adjustments here, when your sticks are all the way forward, is there one stick when it gets to the bump? Can you still move the stick forward? And if so, if that stick is still going forward, when the rod has traveled as far as you can go on the wheel motors, then you may be thinking it's tracking faster on one side than the other because you're pushing on that stick further, and it's not really making it go any further forward. So the way we do that, we'll talk about here shortly as well. So we're going to talk about all these features and factors because there's several different places we can adjust. I like to run my sticks where they're very sensitive. And the reason why I like that is if they're real sensitive, that means the sticks are not soft, they're really tight. And being tight means when you move it, then that wheel motor is going to move. So now we're talking about on a piece of equipment that doesn't have any wear in the rods, the ball joints and such as this, and all the holes that the rods go through and all this sort of thing. So we're going to assume that all this is in good shape on yours, and we're going to proceed in that manner that we assume that your mower is in pristine, perfect condition, and all we're going to do now is adjust it so that it doesn't go left or right during the stick movement. Okay, so let's proceed, and I want to do some shots where you're located right now, and then I'm going to do some shots from the side so you can see why I'm saying what I'm saying. So first thing we're going to do is I ask you, are your sticks straight across from each other in park? I ask you that. Also ask you, are they straight across from each other in neutral with all the slack out? See, this stick is a little tighter than this stick. Alright, now the reason why I did that is so that we can show the adjustment when we get to this point. Alright, so are they straight across from each other? Yes, they are. Okay. Are they straight across from each other in park? And yes, they are. Okay, so when you adjust for these things, we're going to adjust the sticks so that when they're in park or in neutral, in particular for the wheel motor speed, and we're assuming that you do have one side going faster than the other. Someone wanted to draw to my attention in the Hustler Motor Owners group, which is also a group for big dog and or for anybody as far as that matters. If you own a zero turn, you'd like to be a part of our group. It's growing very, very rapidly. We appreciate all our members, and we appreciate their contributions on a daily basis. And it doesn't have to be a hustler or a big dog. You're welcome in the group. Now, with that said, we want to make sure that when we make these adjustments, we're adjusting for tracking or we're adjusting for just the stick location. So which is it? Are we going to adjust for tracking right now? First thing we're going to do is, before we do anything else, we want to adjust the stick location. Now, once that stick is located properly and the tracking is still off, then we can adjust the tracking. First thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust for stick softness. And I'm going to move this forward. Alright, now I'm going to come around here and I'm going to move the camera so that you can better see what we're talking about. Hopefully we can get a good shot for. We'll be right back. Alright, so you're looking down at the lawnmower and you're going to see this T-slot right here, which is where your stick is located. Now I've got this over to the side so that you can see this pivot right here has a spring, a bolt with a spring and a couple of washers and a lock nut on it. And the tighter you make this spring by tightening on the bolt, then you're going to take some of the softness out of this stick. And again, I like mine really tight. That makes the machine much more responsive. And we want to make sure that, in my opinion, this should be responsive so that when you move it, it moves, especially around in tight locations where you're trying to get around bushes and landscaping such as that. So we're going to tighten this up here, which mine is the way I want it. So all you're going to do is you're going to keep tightening this until you get it to your comfort level. And you want them to be equal side to side. Alright, let's move to the next thing. Okay, are the sticks straight across from each other? And yes, these are. So we're good there. However, let's say that one of your sticks is forward or aft of the other. So is the situation forward or aft, is it due to the stick being located incorrectly here on this pivot point? And it very well could be. So you can move this stick forward or back by loosening these two bolts, move that back and forth. Now, there's going to be some adjustments we'll make to really fine tune, and you can fine tune this thing really, really well. There is the steering rods, there are pivot points here, there are movements for the steering arms on the steering, the upper steering sticks on the steering arms. There's also adjustments on the rear at the wheel motor. So we're going to assume that you have now located your sticks to where they are straight across from each other, both in park and in neutral. And when I say in neutral, we want to jack the mower up. We're going to pull the rear wheels off, put it on certified jack stands by all means. Make sure it's safe. Safety is first and foremost. And once you have this up in the air and you know that you start the engine, you put it in neutral, that the wheels are not turning or creeping. So you'll make sure that this is a point that you're at right now. With that said, go ahead and adjust your sticks straight across from each other. Then we're going to work with adjusting the tracking after we have the sticks leveled. Now after we adjust the tracking, if the sticks then are again out of square, now we're going to readjust the sticks so that they're square, and we're going to adjust the tracking one more time. We're going to really fine tune this thing so that when it's wide open, it's going to go straight and it's not going to veer one way or the other, and the sticks are locked forward, and then we're going to lock rearward. It's going to track to the rear. So let's continue with that and we'll go to the next step. Alright, we're about to remove the wheel and tire. You can probably see a couple of lug nuts already off. And while we're here looking at the wheel and tire, I thought maybe we'd give this company a plug. And the reason why we want to do that, we are not receiving any remuneration, any kind of pay for this. However, what we are receiving is we happen to get through Mass Depot, which I want to announce that they have won 3 Kyosho awards now. That's 1 is amazing, 2 is outstanding, I mean just unheard of, and then 3, these people have won 3 awards, and they just, it's amazing how fast they're growing, and their customer service is outstanding. They got a good product. This Mass FX tire is actually their own product, along with a motorcycle tire. And we're not going to talk about the motorcycles right now. We're talking about lawnmowers. So this is a Mass FX, and it's AT 23 by 11 by 10, which I've replaced a 20 by 12 by 10 Grassmaster tire on this lawnmower. And I will tell you right now, this tire right here, not only is it larger, which is not necessarily what a lot of people are looking for, but I was to do the world land speed record, and I happen to own that for a Hustler Raptor. So thank you, Mass Depot. We appreciate you very much, and thank you for taking care of our members. Also want to talk about Bizway real quickly. I know this is a commercial, y'all probably don't appreciate it, but something you might want to appreciate is we're going to have a coupon contest for August through the last day of August, I guess it is. And it's for this 48-11-1850 Milwaukee lithium replacement battery for the 18 fuel. And I use them every day. Great product. I mean, outstanding. And we want to thank Bizway for supplying these coupons for you guys. You're going to get you can win a 50% coupon for this. This battery is like $39 or something like that, and that you can get it for like 18 bucks, something like that. So it's going to be a heck of a deal to be able to buy a 5 amp hour, and it's like a 100 watt hour, 90 watt hour. These things run just for nearly forever. So Bizway, thank you for stepping up and providing Maxs Garaj Mahal YouTube and CocoScope channels with these coupons. And we're going to make these available exclusively through Maxs Garaj Mahal, and also through Hustler Mower Owner, but you have to be a subscriber at Maxs Garaj Mahal YouTube channel, and you can sign up to win this 50% discount. So let's go ahead and get to where we're going with this video. Alright, we're going to remove this tire, which we just did. Now we're going to show you some of the tools required to do this adjustment. And I'm going to show you some tools that are not required and you don't want to use for this adjustment. Alright, let me flip on this monitor where maybe I can see what you're seeing. And what you're going to do with these right here, you're going to clamp as soon as that monitor decides to come on. There we go. We're going to clamp right over here. Unlike Pterodactyl's, give him a little plug. Unlike his video channel, I don't have a video man. I don't have a cameraman, Mr. Cameraman. Wish I did. By the way, if you haven't gone over and seen some of his videos, you want to go by and see Mr. Pterodactyl. He's a very comedic fellow, but he's very, very knowledgeable, does a fantastic job of explaining these things. And you do want to go by his video. Now, these tools right here, what we're going to do with these is we're going to take, you can take either one of these kind, you can actually take a vise, just a standard vise grip, and you're going to clamp these together right here, just like that. And what you're going to do is when you clamp these together, I don't know that we can use this one because I've worn them out. And no, it's not going to cooperate. So let's play with these right here real quickly. As you can see, I didn't set up for this. We're just doing it live, or not live, but you won't see it live. But it'll be, consequently, I'm trying to keep my leg out of your way. But you're going to clamp this together right here. Just like that. And the reason why you're doing that is that is your forward back on your wheel motor. So clamp it like that. Anyway, I'll go get a vice grip here in just a moment. Clamp this so this can't move. Now, in some of the forums and some of the groups, you've seen me talk about the, lock this in place. You've seen me talk about these two nuts. Alright, if the lawnmower is veering to the left, then the book or the manufacturer will tell you to slow down the opposite side. If your lawnmower is not doing what they claim it should do and suggest that it should do, which is, on this particular mower, is up to 7.5 mile per hour. Up to 7.5. Now, this mower, when I got it, wouldn't do 6 mile an hour, wouldn't even do 5.75. And it's, after the dealer got through messing with it, it was still doing 5.75. So they didn't do anything with it, and apparently never adjusted on any of this stuff. And that was the only warranty work I've asked to have done on this thing, was the steering tracking done. And they had it for 11 weeks, and during the middle of summer, me having to pay other people to mow the yard, wasn't real happy about that, but hey, that's life. So anyway, what we're going to do, I don't subscribe to slowing down one side to make this side equal. I subscribe to, and I'm not going to prescribe to you, but what I do is I will speed this side up. So in order to speed this side up, we're going to loosen the back nut a couple of turns so it has slack. We're going to adjust the front nut, which is the front of the machine. We're going to turn it clockwise, which, since it's facing this way, that is going to be this direction. So we're going to turn that 1/2 a turn. We're not going to go a full turn. It depends on how bad yours is out of tracking. If it's really hanging left, then you might want to make a full turn. Then, while holding this, tighten the rear lock nut back up. Tighten it up. Put your wheel back on, and then you can either go out and test it, or you can mark the tire on one spot and put a Coke bottle or a stick or whatever you can find to line it up, count the revolutions, do the same thing on the other side, and if in the same time it goes the same amount of revolutions, voila, you're in business. That works for some people that are really handy. For some others, it will not. So what you want to do is put the lawnmower back on the ground, go out and test it on a flat, level, smooth surface. Now, if you've got a gravel drive or a ditch or something like that, I do not recommend testing it that way, but if that's what you got, that's what you have to use. Now, once you find that it has not completely satisfied the veering or the steering off to one side, you're going to bring it back in, you're going to jack it up, you're going to put it on some certified jack stands, and once again, you're going to loosen the rear nut, you're going to tighten or turn the front nut half to one turn. Now, once you do that, lock everything down, start the lawnmower before you put your wheel on, and make sure this axle is not turning. Because now you're doing this in neutral, by the way. So once you've done that, make sure that this wheel is not going to turn. That's called creeping. So put that wheel back on, go out and test it. And if you've gone to the point on the, let's say on the left, it's veering to the left. If you've gone to the point that now the wheel is going to creep, the axle is going to turn in neutral with the engine started, then you need to back off this forward nut, half turn, tighten up the rear nut until they both lock in place, and then lock them down real good and tight. Then on the opposite side, then you are going to need to slow down the opposite side. But I do not subscribe to slowing down the fastest side to match the slow side. That does not make any sense. So if you do have to slow down one side, make sure that you sped up the slow side as far as it'll go until you get creeped, and back off till the creep's gone. And then do the same thing in reverse, check it that way, and you should be set up and ready to go. So that should explain the full manifest of taking the steering to a direct, straight run. Let's say now we have the steering is tracking straight forward, and now the sticks are still slightly off one way or the other. Now we can adjust these sticks till we get them straight across, wherever that camera's at. It's back here somewhere. Now we want those sticks straight across, right? We can now adjust those sticks, and there are several different ways. We can adjust the sticks at the top. We can adjust the sticks through the rods. Now, bear in mind that after you've done all the forward adjustments and the lawnmower is still running true, but one stick is forward of the other, and you have your springs adjusted properly on your sticks, then we can adjust them through this rod right here. And the way you're going to do that is you want to make sure, now we're going to go through the steering adjustment all over again, but if one stick is forward of the other, you can adjust these by backing these nuts off. You can adjust that stick forward or back through these two nuts right here, and then fine-tune your steering one more time. And you're in business. That'll get your sticks where they belong. That'll have your steering tracking. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, that gave you everything you need to get out, get that steering adjusted, get that lawnmower feeling the way you want it to feel, get that ride the way you want it, and make it as efficient as possible, because the more efficient your mower, the more you're going to love it, and we know you love these mowers. And I subscribe to putting in the time to maintain and to adjust these lawnmowers until they give you what you're wanting. And once you've done that, by golly, these little Hustler lawnmowers are pretty good lawnmowers, and they'll seem to do the job. And I will say this, all these people that have bad tendencies or have had some bad problems with them, there are some of these mowers that have had some loose bolts here and there, and the reason why these things are breaking is because we, the owners, are not getting it. And I'm not taking up for Hustler Turf, I'm not taking up for XL Industries, the manufacturer. or the parent company of Hustler Turf and Big Dog Mowers. But what I am saying is, in their defense, we as owners have the responsibility of going over these bolts and nuts to check them and keep them tight. And then when they break because they're loose, then maybe it could be that we, the owners, did not do our due diligence by checking the mower. If we find something that's loose and we don't have a couple of these wrenches to tighten them up, as you can see, pretty simple tool, just a 9/16 inch wrench to tighten up most everything on this mower. 1/2 inch to do some of the things, 7/16. Guys, get out there and crawl around that mower, jack it up, get it in safe position, check your mower, make sure it's doing a good job, get your decks level, keep your steering straight. There's so many things you can do to make your experience better. And I'm not saying you're a slack off. Well, maybe I am. Hey, if the shoe fits, you need to wear it. So get out there and make your lawnmower what you want it to be, because you have the ability, and if you have the desire to enhance your mowers, there's all kinds of things you can do to them. You can put tail lights on them, you can put headlights on them, you can do emergency flashers, you can port your belt covers to keep the spindles from wearing out, you can and keep your belt in good shape. Myself, I like a faster mower, so I didn't need to spend the kind of money for a 1 acre yard to spend $12,000–15,000 for a lawnmower. This thing was $4,500 in 2014. That was way overpriced in my opinion, but and I'm sure XL is going to appreciate me saying that, but that's just my opinion. So I've done some things to enhance this. I've done all kinds of things actually, and it really comes down to, what do I want? Do I want this lawnmower to run straight? Do I want this thing to ride well? Do I want this thing to cut well? So with all that said, I hope you got something from this video, and if you did, I'd appreciate you guys subscribing to it, give me a thumbs up, a like, hit that notification bell so that you'll know when the next video comes out. Please share, and do me another favor if you would. Go to some of these links down there and below and purchase some of this merchandise. It'll help me continue making these videos, and we really would appreciate that. So guys, we appreciate you coming by Max's Garage Mahal, and y'all come back and see us now. You hear?